if you're willing to work harder than the next guy, and you're willing to take chances that the next guy's not willing to take, you will find success.
What's going on, guys? Jamie Van Isri in the JMSB building. Today, I'm talking about preserving customs in law, but bringing it to the next level. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Legal Logic box has a little hole right at the top. And this was meant for the ideas in the box to spill out. And this is what it's all about today, is taking the best that our traditions have to offer, but taking it to the next level. Modernizing law, modernizing business, and being part of the community.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
Welcome back. So you were on a panel, or you were a moderator in Toronto, right?
I moderated, so I'm doing what you're doing today to me. So the roles are reversed, and I'm really looking forward to being on the other end of the panel.
So tell me about which panel you're on.
So it's going to be disrupting technology, thinking outside the box, ... what box?
What box?
What box? So as you know, as you may know, Legal Logic has its logo as a box, but we left a little open hole in the top so that ideas flew out of the box. So so there is a box, and I realize that, you know, as a lawyer, I have to live within a box and within a system. But for me, it's really a question of how to take the traditions and not kind of like, you know, trample the traditions. I think it's important to be traditional and, you know, make the respect the customs. But I think it's also important to innovate for the benefit of the clients and not just kind of for the benefits of my colleagues who are comfortable in perpetuating the way that things have always been done.
So for you, and this is so amazing at what you do, you're really about entrepreneurship, and you know that these people have limited resources, they're just starting out, they need a lot of guidance, and you really have created a whole different approach. What is it about that you would like to share with people so that when they're building their businesses, they are open as well? So
for me, it's all about protecting that dream. How do I protect the dream? It's so easy to get, you know, kind of caught up in the sensation of starting a business, the excitement, the glamour of being the next Zuckerberg. Chances are you're not going to be that person, but you can make a really good living and you can be happy doing it. I want to make sure that you can actually get from point A to point B and benefit from all the protection that the big boys have. So I want you to play their game on your terms.
Oh, that's
And I just
so
made that
awesome.
up. It sounded nice.
And it's recorded, so you don't have to
That's
remember
amazing.
it. We'll just
Yeah,
play
please
back.
send that to me. That sounded great.
And what is it about your host that you're looking forward to, who's moderating your panel?
My host is natural. She's very good looking. She's a very good looking moderator. But more importantly, I love the bangs. I love the influencer bangs. But more importantly, the reason why I like my host is because she's natural. She's been there, she's done it, and she knows what to ask.
Okay, but I was making a joke.
Oh, well, you can use that.
Okay, so let's start with Jamie, the sarcastic loudmouth over there, exactly. I've known Jamie actually for a short amount of time, but the connection was very quick. He's amazing. He's an attorney by trade, but what he's done is he's really flipped the industry of law upside down with what he's doing. As an entrepreneur, he had some struggles in the beginning, and now he's using those struggles, and he's created Legal Logic and a really, I guess it's kind of like a turnkey solution for entrepreneurs, startups to go to him and get the help they need. I'll let you explain a bit more about yourself in a minute. Next, we have Dr. Bach Nguyen. He is a dentist, and you'd think dentist, entrepreneur at this conference. Wait till you hear what he's done. He has opened up the equivalent of a WeWorks, but in the dental industry. Talk about thinking out of the box. Really exciting, so we're going to hear his story. And we also have Lenny Moreno. You know what his background is? He was a rapper. And now he's the CEO of Desk, which is a solar panel. It's not the solar panel company, it's the software for the solar panels. And he's going to talk to us about that. So I'm going to give everybody each about a minute and a half, and maybe you can just introduce yourself a bit more. Go ahead, Jamie.
So thank you. First of all, I can't even think of a better host. You understand, as a social worker trained, you understand people, you understand psyche. And when you look at me, you look at my soul. And you have that, you look at those eyes, and you say, holy shit, she's looking at my soul.
It's true.
So just don't stare into her eyes when she's talking to the crowd, because she'll get you. This is a huge honor. I love anything JMSB related these days is amazing. There's so much buzzing in this building. Enactus did an amazing job. Let's give a round of applause to Enactus. You guys, were both already found a year ago, and you just crushed it. So congratulations. I'm Jamie Ben-Israel. I'm a trained attorney, and I love people. I love connecting. I love communities, and I think that whether I was going to be a dentist or a rapper or a solar guy, I think that I was always going to be the same kind of a guy wearing a different, having a different business card. But at the end of the day, what I do is connect with people, and I love what I do. And I don't necessarily love law. I fucking hated law school. It was really boring. I did physiology before McGill, and I just, I made it my own. And at the end of the day, I love connecting with people, and I don't necessarily love law, but I love understanding law to make sure that my clients can use it to their advantage to play the same game as the big boys. So that resulted in Legal Logic, and at the end of the day, I want to make sure that you guys get great content and have access to legal tools just like the big boys at a fraction of the cost with the human interaction. And that's kind of how Legal Logic came to be.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Dr. Pak Nguyen. I'm a dentist, and as soon as I mentioned that, I lost half my friends. Already there. But to make a story short, you look at me and say, oh, you're a dentist. So what you're thinking, you don't say it out loud, is the truth. I became a dentist for my parents. That was it. I never fit into the mold. I succeed despite myself. It's been now 20 years, within 20 years that I'm a dentist, but when you are an outsider in a system, you cannot see the flaw easily. And I share one thing with all my patients. They hate to be on a chair, and I hate that too. So that was my starting point. Today what I can tell you is the most ambitious dental project never realized in the dental field has been vouched, financially speaking, by a patient. So this is how far we can bring relationship to the next level. And I believe that today is not about us, it's about you. So tell yourself one thing. If I have changed the world from a dental chair, you guys are in a better position than I have to change the world. Thank you.
All right, Lenny, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm Lenny Moreno. I'm founder and CEO of SoftDesk. So it's a solar energy sales accelerator. We're now 35 employees. We're the biggest solar energy application in North America. And I have to say that it's not really what I'm doing right now that matters. I think that what I'm doing right now is just a vehicle in order to get to the next level. And then the next level is going to be another vehicle in order to get to the next level. Because it's not about how much money you make, or about what you do, or what's the product that you sell. It's really more about what do you stand for, and what do you want to fight for. And that, you find it, just going through life, and at a certain point, you're going to realize it's not like, you can't define yourself as your job. You have to define yourself as you first, and then you're going to be able to apply that and reach a whole bunch of people with your own values. So me, all that to say that my background, there's so much to say. I know that I know there's some.
Yeah.
If ever I carry on, you
Don't
can
worry,
stop
Lenny.
me.
I got you. My voice is loud.
Good.
But you're making a point, Lenny, and I want to pick up on this because it's exactly what my first question was going to be. Is you can hear just from their introductions, they kind of talked about their job, but they really didn't. They were talking more about who they are. And I think that's really important, and one of the things that you'll take away today from these three individuals is the reason why they're doing what they're doing is because of their own firsthand experience as a consumer, as a human being, what they experienced and how they saw an opportunity within that to create a business. So on that note, Jamie, talk to me first. Yeah, pass it down. Thanks, Lenny. Jamie, talk to me first about your struggles as an entrepreneur, what you saw happening to yourself, and how that firsthand experience has led to what you're doing now.
So law and entrepreneurship are sometimes very opposed concepts. Law by definition is very Cartesian, it's very Cartesian. You fit in a box, you apply the law, and you stick to what the judges have ruled in the past. And I could never accept that, and I love what you said. I always felt like an outsider in my own profession. I didn't fit in with any of the cool kids on the 40th floor of really nice buildings. So I didn't really identify with any legal culture. So it kind of, I was almost forced to do my own thing, to feel comfortable, to express myself as an entrepreneur. And I remember the first couple of years of my practice, I was quiet. I was soaking it in. I was learning the language of law. And can I stand up? I feel very awkward.
Yeah, of course.
Put my pants down.
You can either walk.
Thanks.
Use your hand gestures.
I will. So I remember the first couple of consults and the first clients that I had, I was doing what my industry told me I was allowed to do. Clients come in, I build you, and then then those clients would stop calling me. And I'm like, hey, how are you? And they were like, yeah, I'm like, I gotta go, Jamie, I'll call you back. And people just wouldn't call me back. And it's because of the billing, and it's because of the culture that lawyers were so accustomed to that I hated. I hated the fact that people were shying away from me. And I didn't understand why people weren't paying my bills. So for me, this became a very unnatural experience, and it forced me to package myself. It forced me to think as a consumer, just like your people, just like your installers who didn't have the software, just like the people on your your comfortable chair who didn't want to be there. And that kind of resulted in me building myself as an entrepreneur in law as an outsider. So it was really a response of being sympathetic to my own clients and actually feeling guilty for billing them. Like, how can I send you a bill for a telephone conversation? Like, it's weird. Patrice Mena, when he does his consultations, when you're doing a listing for a property and you're trying to get that business, you're not going to sell him a bill for your time. I mean, he's getting to know you, you're getting to know the client. It's like a first date. And you're not going to bill your clients. And I think the real estate agencies get that, and I think that a lot of other industries get that. You would never bill for a first consultation. So why the hell have lawyers been doing this since fucking Aristotle?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was time to change, and that's kind of, for me, became unnatural, and what I did as a result was legal logic.
Yeah, and what's great when he's talking about that actually is that you pay him what you want your first consult. Whatever you have, you pay him. If you don't, then you don't. That's how he works, because he really is someone who's practicing exactly what he's preaching.
Yeah, really quickly on that. That was an untapped, for me, that was an untapped model. So instead of saying, you got to pay $250 to see Jamie Ben-Israel, my response was, you'll come in, if you get value, then you make a discretionary contribution, and part of that goes to charity. And for me, that was, trying to flip, what value you perceived from that first consultation. And that was, for me, the way that I kind of approached it.
Yeah, which is amazing. So now, Bach, for you were saying this was something that your parents wanted you to do, and you were never comfortable in that world. Yet you stayed in the world that you weren't comfortable in. In other words, you didn't want to become a dentist, but you did. And now, in order to be comfortable, you're taking your experiences and creating something new. Talk to me about what that was like for you. Finally, kind of the light bulb going off. All right, I can't do business as usual. I need to do something different based on what I'm experiencing.
Actually, the story is a little different. The biggest struggle I had is trying to fit into the box within 5 years of my first practice. So what happened is I became a dentist. I have to learn the rules. I have to do whatever people was expecting from me. And then after a few years, I say, wait a minute. What I knew when I was cool, I had dreams. I had the impression that I can change the world. And everything that I had back then was way above what I am today, even with a little more money. So what happened is, from that day, I kind of wake up and say, okay, I cannot just change my past. I spent 5 years studying, I spent 5 years building my business. Now I'm a dentist, I can't change that anymore. Because, just so you know, when I graduate, I have two choices. Either go to Hollywood and become a producer, or become a dentist. And I know the bad choice was to become a dentist, but you cannot just throw away a license that took your life. And honestly, it took my life. This 5 years at school was hell to me. It was hell. But just make a long story short, I succeed on one thing. Is from day one, I was looking for human connection with my patient. They don't like to be there, I didn't like to be there. So I tried to be as fast as I could, treating them. So now, how are you doing? Tell me about you. And from those connections, I was practicing downtown, so I have the opportunity to meet a lot of great people. And as more space changed, the more I said, oh, we should do this, we should do this. And I said, oh yeah, we can help. So I built my business network based on those relationships on the dental chair. And from then we expand, and eventually by my fourth cabinet, I've made enough mistake just following the industry and say, okay, every time that people say no to me, I would say, whoa, wait a minute. I'm saying, is it possible? And I say, it's no. And is it possible? It's no. I'm not asking the question because I'm difficult. I'm asking the question because I know that my patient will be asking for the same question. And if I say no to my patient, I look stupid. So that, the light bulb moment that come on, I say, okay, everything that you say no to me and you spend the next 15 minutes just to find your no, that's for me an opportunity to act. And I didn't have the ambition to change the whole thing. I just wanted to make things work. But with the bill coming with it, with the time investing in it, so okay, so if you say no to me, the next time the next guy say no to me, and there's 4 guys in the industry, it's okay, I'm gonna be the 5th guy. I'm gonna say yes. This is how it started. And slowly, just brick by brick, you don't have the answers. All you have is a will to move forward. And just to go back at the first thing, we talk about dreaming big, and today you guys are students, you'll be graduating soon, and the word out there is scary. What I want to tell you today, don't try to fit in. Keep the will that you have today, that you want to make things better, you want to make the world a better place, from wherever you are. That's your nature. That's what's the authenticity in you. And the only thing you're going to learn up there is how to do it.
Thanks, Bach. So 2 things I just want to point out that both of these first 2 people said, both Jamie and Bach, they hated school. They were miserable.
Amen.
So what I think is interesting about that is that was the basis for what they're doing now. So there is value to school, but also Lenny didn't go to school and he's also really successful. So there's a lot of ways that we can look at success. There's a lot of ways in entrepreneurship to make it. With school and hating it, without school, there's lots of different ways to make it. So hang in there if you're miserable. Lenny, I want to talk to you a bit about Lenny. He's had lots of jobs. He was installing solar panels. And when he was installing them, he realized that there was a gap in that service, and he sought to make a product that would help that gap, that would close that gap, and has expanded, and that's how he's developed his business. Talk to me a bit about that, Lenny, that you experienced something that wasn't working, and it inspired you to fix the problem.
Correct. And, just to correct you, I did not go to school completely. And I just stopped at a certain point.
All right, sorry.
It was like at CJIP. But you know what? All this, it doesn't really matter, Like, you guys are at school. I'm here in my position. You guys are in your position, and it's a bit like sweet and sour, to be here and like I haven't graduated. But the truth is that you will never get more knowledge than being on the field knowledge. Being on the field knowledge, you get to live the real experiences. I lived the real experiences by, traveling, meeting clients, closing deals, having no choice but to close deals in order to pay rent. When you go through these things, there's this survival instinct that gets to kick in. When you're hungry, some ways, human beings, they find life, They just find a way to make it through. And it's only in the periods where you're super, super low and dark and it's not going well, you will find solutions that your brain haven't even realized that you're capable of. But if you've been silver spoon constantly, then you're just constantly waiting for a solution to come to you. But when you're on the field and you need to make these decisions for survival, I'm telling you, your brain is wired in a way that you're going to find the hustler in you. You're going to find the grinder in you. You're going to find the killer in you. And once you go through that, this is when your stock goes up. And then your stock is going to go higher and higher with the more experiences that you have. You know what? One more thing. Since you guys are here, I know that a lot of you guys, you probably have your crews. You probably have your posse. You probably have your friends. And I just want to say, exactly on your point that you said, it's important that you find your identity. And finding your identity, you have to retract yourself from your day-to-day friends. It's not because you grew up with your friends that you necessarily need to end up where they are. You have to follow exactly your own path. And in order for you to do that, you have to check yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? This is who I am, and I have nothing in common with most of the people around me. And you're going to go through that route, and you're going to realize that it's not because you grew up with them that you belong with them. You need to make sure that you find your identity in order to help other people. If you keep helping your posse to be cool and to fit in, then all your energy is going in the wrong direction. You need to flip that, and you need to make sure that that energy goes into, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and from there, then I'm going to be able to help. Because you know what? You've been in this planet for one reason and one reason only. And that reason is to help others. That's it.
So now you guys understand why Lenny is in something called disruptive, right? Because he really thinks uniquely. And I appreciate so much all that stuff that you say, Lenny, because he really is about just doing what's true to you, and it's hard in this world, especially social media, to do that, because you're thinking that everyone has got it all together and I'm supposed to be doing this and that, but really it's about internalizing and finding your own place. So on this topic of disruptive, I did some looking online. The synonyms for disruptive, by the way: troublesome, unruly, badly behaved, rowdy, disorderly, undisciplined, and wild. Would you say generally those are negative or positive words? Negative, pretty negative. So, but these three gentlemen have taken that, I mean, well, maybe Lenny, you might have been unruly. No? Wild? No? A little bit?
He's classy about it, though.
Yeah.
He's unruly classy.
Yeah. So, but you're taking something that's perceived to be negative and trying to build it into a business. And so in that sense, guys, what I want you to talk about now is all of you hit roadblocks. And I'm sure your colleagues or friends or family were saying to you at some point, what are you doing? This is not how lawyers work. This is not a dentist's office. Lenny, you're sleeping, on the floor in the office trying to build something and find funding. It's not working. Give it up. But you knew that you had the idea. You knew that it would work. Talk to me about how you knew that your idea was right and you could move forward, versus also listening to feedback of someone saying, maybe it's not the right direction, and shifting. How do you know? Jamie?
So I can tell you that when I knew it was working is when people started calling me Kim Kardashian online. They were saying, Benizri is the Kardashian of law. We should be careful with this guy because he's putting out a lot of content. Because the industry, I have a clean bill of health with the Barreau du Québec, by the way. I'm very proud of that. People have tried to, attack my credibility, and even planted clients in my office to pose as clients to try to bring me down. But I've always I've always been able to kind of hold my own in front of the bar.
Your industry did that?
Some competitors did it. So I think that's really when I knew that that it was working. When people were really getting worried in the industry, and when actually the bigger players in the city started copying my starter packages, started copying my videos, started copying my content, started poaching my employees. And I think at that point, I was humbled. I'm like, yeah, you want my people? It was a compliment. But all of that stuff, like Lenny says, it should not go to your ego. The second it goes to your ego and you go on autopilot mode is the moment that you start to lose that hunger. And Lenny can talk about hunger, Dr. Back can talk about hunger, and I can tell you that people all the time say, man, how do you, what are you doing? You have a family, you're all over the place, you have, 30 employees, you have 3 offices, you're traveling, you're at this panel on a Saturday, you should be with your kids. At the end of the day, I put myself in a situation where I have no choice but to perform. Lenny had no choice to drive 6,000 kilometers to California. You had no choice but to express yourself because you owed it to your clients in a certain way. So, and you had no choice. I mean, you're a professional too. And you made the decision to follow your passion, your heart, and what that little voice was telling you. And I think that all 4 of us have that in common. So, I put myself in a situation where there's no turning back. I tell my team all the time, you gotta burn that boat. You get on the island, you fucking burn that boat, and you do whatever it takes to make it happen, and that's
Jamie,
exactly where I am.
let me stop you on that, on burning the boat, because that's an interesting point, is you're talking about diving full in. You make a commitment and you dive full in and you go for it. But is there some value to your entourage, your friends, your family, people you trust, and obviously not in your situation because it worked, but isn't there some value with listening to some of the feedback that's around you? Because maybe your idea needs some tweaking. Maybe your methods need some tweaking. So how do you balance staying on your path and knowing you're doing something, but also being open to some feedback?
Yeah, so good, so good. I wish, people ask me if I have any regrets. I've never had a mentor. Okay, I've had people like my grandfather who immigrated after the war, lost his whole family in the Holocaust, gets to Montreal and builds up a clothing empire of multiple stores. So I've learned really from experience from people like that. But I've never had somebody who I can go to and be like, hey, does my financial statement look good? Because it didn't always look good. Am I doing this right? Should I hire this person? Should I read CVs, which I don't? So all of these things, I wish I had a sounding board, and I wish I did. I just never felt comfortable enough to have that person to have that sit down. So and I wish I did that more often, and that's on me. I'm learning to kind of find that person. But I think there's huge merit in listening. I'm such an active listener. It's really hard to get me in a room because I bounce around like a promiscuous bee all day. But once you get me in the room, it's you and me. There's no cell phone. There's no tweeting. I want to look you in the eyes. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to actively listen. It's so important. Lenny said, you learn in the field. Dr. Back has his clients in a chair, and when Dr. Back has that one client in the chair, I'm sure as hell he's not taking a phone call. You are the only person that matters to him. And that's so important to communicate that message when you're one-on-one in that room.
So, Dr. Bach, let's talk about this negative feedback. So you really, a WeWork, the equivalent of WeWorks in dentistry, like that's not something people would think about as dentistry. So I imagine that some people have looked at you and what you're doing as being really different in your industry and maybe have discouraged you from trying that path. Is that the case, or was everyone supporting you? And if they weren't, how did you work through that?
I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Okay.
The thing is, yes, every time you have something new, you're the only person in the room having that idea. And mostly people will say, how will that work? Is that possible? Jenny mentioned about mentors. And this is something that you all have to look for. Somebody who has more knowledge than you have, more wisdom than you have. But never, if you want my advice, ask a mentor, what did you think of my idea? They don't know. They don't have a clue. The only thing you can ask them is, with all due respect, if you had my idea, even if you disagree with it, what would you do with it? What you want to learn from them is the how to overcome, how to get to the next level. And just to answer the question, every time that people was asking me, how do you react when people say no? I said, thank you. Because I know that my idea may be unique. If everybody was agreeing with me from day one, I say, okay, maybe that idea is not that good.
That's such an interesting way to look at it.
And a way to put it, because it's been 20 years now that for me, no doesn't mean a thing. No is just the first door to pass through. And after the no, behind the no, what's the behind no? It's fear. It's the fear of the unknown. It's maybe laziness. But all of this, to you, entrepreneurs, it's opportunity. This is undiscovered territory. And when you have the no at the first step, that's great. That means that nobody has done a thing on that subject. Go. And if I may have some time, I'm looking at you guys and I'm seeing myself 20 years ago. With hope, with dreams, with things that, yeah, I can do something. And I'm not the right person to say this because we're a disruptor. And I didn't know I was a disruptor until last week when you're going to speak at that. But what I'm trying to say here is, before you go and destroy the old, before you go and criticize the education system, just think of it as a whole first. It is easy to aim at one tiny spot and say, this is not perfect. But when you're trying to build a system, and trust me, I know, but it's very hard. Nothing is perfect. You make it perfect in the narrative afterwards. And every time you touch and you build something, it's collateral damage. Because you're also destroying something at the same time. And as you be meeting with people, and you're successful because you have been successful building something, so there's something else that's going to crumble down. Maybe those people say, oh geez, I didn't know that I have that much effect. That's supposed to be a compliment. That wasn't. So my advice to you is one thing. Always choose the path of least resistance. You have an idea, because the idea was to change the world, is to make something better, to help somebody. And if it's not working, try to fix it first. Try to work upon the old first. And if that's easier, go. I know it's less glamorous, you don't have that much glory, but if that's all it takes, you just save yourself a lot of time. And to answer your question, did I have a lot of obstruction? I think that yes, but I didn't recognize it. And I still believe that the biggest resistance is coming ahead, and the way you can face it is say, oh geez, let's work together. And if they say no again, okay, I tried. I tried. So my best advice to you here is always look for the path of least resistance, because what you're looking for by the end of the day is not pride, it's for a result. And as people will be open, you have a chance to change things. If they are not open, now that's your cue. Build whatever you have in mind.
Just a second, Lenny. I just want to pick up on one thing you said. One thing that's really nice, he was saying, he didn't even recognize the resistance, which talks a lot about what we do to ourselves. Is we may think that there's resistance and there's not, and really most of it's in our own head as well. So I think that's part of the resistance, is our own thought patterns and trying to push through those. Okay, so Lenny, a little bit about him. He was struggling and trying to get this product off the ground and to get the financing. He had a really big deal on the table. Something wasn't sitting right with him, and he walked away from it, took a huge risk to look for something that felt better. Lenny, talk to me about how you knew that even though there was money, all the glamour was there, it could have done something. You knew that you still wanted something different. How did you? Most people would never walk away from that deal. How did you do it?
Well, I strongly believe that, it's never about the money. Honestly, if you're an entrepreneur and you think about the money, then most likely you may fail. If you're an entrepreneur and you think about doing something good, you may win. So when I think about that day, first I was living at the office. It wasn't that bad. There was no showers. So I had to go to the YMCA, which, whatever, it was alright, I survived, But millions of dollars come. And they say, you know what? Millions of dollars. Sign here. And then you look at the deal and you're like, well, I don't believe that these people have the same vision and don't have the same understanding of the market. So I know I can get better. Even if I was struggling to pay my employees, paying the rent, having a decent meal. So then I got in my car. Then I drove all the way to LA. I met with 17 installers. I met with 18 installers. I closed 17 of them. I stayed in LA for 5 months. I drove back to Florida. I met a whole bunch of VCs. For the ones who are not venture capitals, the people that gives you the millions of dollars. And I arrived at Key Biscayne, which is south of Miami. And I go and I pitch. And I knew that these were probably the best partners I could find. Not because of the money, because of what they could bring to the table that I didn't have, and that the other investors did not have. So I gave the best presentation. 3 weeks later, I get a letter of intent, which is usually the part prior to making an investment. Letter of intent is followed by due diligence. Due diligence takes 3 to 4 months. Legal, operational, financial, and then they go through all the books. They leave no stones unturned. There's nothing you can hide during a due diligence process. And we have a lawyer here that can probably testify to that.
We'll find it, bro.
They'll find it. So what happens is 6 months, huh? 6 months from the moment I was offered millions of dollars at a certain valuation for my company. And 6 months later, I do the tour, I do this, I do that. 6 months later, 3 times the valuation. So, we take the deal. The partners are right. And it taught me one thing. And that thing I want you guys to remember for the rest of your life. If you're a salesman, don't partner up with a salesman. If you're an accountant, don't partner up with a numbers guy. If you're a marketing genius, don't partner up with another marketing genius. Don't keep 100% of the shares of your company. You are not good at everything. You need to find the right people that are better than you at what you're not the best at. So if you know that you're the best salesman, but you can't code, what are you going to do? You're going to need to go and find a coder that's really, really good, and you're going to give him some skin in the game. He needs to feel like it's his baby as well. If ever you have no clue about numbers, then you know what? You're going to find a numbers guy and you're going to give some skin in the game. And you know what? They will give night and day for you. Night and day for the company, because now it's their baby as well. Would you rather have 100% of a business that is micromanaging left and right and it's not really scalable? Or do you rather have maybe 40, 50, 60% of a business that's thriving with all the right tools? You got to partner up with the people that are better than you at the stuff that you know that you're not the best at. And you have to remember that, because if ever any of you guys are looking to build a business, this is the first thing that you have to know. The second thing, I'll get to it probably on the next question, which is equally as important. But remember that. Don't be greedy with your shares. If you're greedy with your shares, you're going to lose. Guaranteed.
Thanks, Lenny. I know we were running late, so it's very hard for me to tell how long the session is supposed to go. So I'm going to stop the questions here and open it up for you guys to ask some questions to any of these guys. Does anybody want to ask a question? Yes?
What is the other thing you were thinking about?
What's your second thought, Lenny? Finish your second thought.
Ah, good. All right, now check this out, all right? Super important. If any of you are looking to build a business, which is probably why you're here, 4 things that you have to remember when building a business. 4 things. 4 things. In order, okay? Not equal, in order. Number 1 thing, is it the right time for your idea? Is it the right time for your idea? Remember that. Why did, Facebook work and Friendster didn't? Why did YouTube work and 100 of other, video streaming services didn't? Think about that. Is the market ready for your idea? That's timing, okay? It's the number 1 thing that will make it or break it. Timing is number 1. When it comes to everything in life, it's the same thing for like relationships. Someday you're going to meet a girl, someday you're going to meet a man, and you know what? You guys might be perfect for one another. But you know what? It may not be the right timing. Timing is everything. Number 2, your team. Exactly what I said earlier. You need to surround yourself with the key people. Investors, they are looking and investing in people. They don't really care about your idea. They really don't care about your business plan. They care about your team. When people are getting merged, acquisitions, when people sell Their businesses, what do they sell? They sell people. In the end, they're selling a staff, a team of people that are capable of doing something that nobody else can because they work well together. So your team is the second most important thing after timing. Number 3 is your business plan. Your business plan, follow the Kawasaki model. Kawasaki model. It's 10 slides, super easy. Investors, I want to put money in your business, they're not going to look at your 30-pager or your 50-pager. They're going to look at 10 slides, the Kawasaki model. And number 4, then it's the money. So if you have your timing, and if you have the right team, and if you have the right business plan that makes sense, then trust me, it's going to be much easier for you to get money from venture capital that wants to invest in your business, bring value, form a board, scale the business, reach, expand, go to other markets. And you know what? Maybe sell your business one day, make 10, 20, 50, $100 million, and then you take that money and you reinvest in your community.
Does anybody have a question? Yeah.
So I'm presuming that all of you didn't go to business school, correct? Or none of us went to business school. Okay. So how did you go about that, going into that market that it's business, it's not just like you doing your profession? How did you switch from, okay, I'm an employee, and then how do you make like those business people that invested in you take you seriously?
That's an interesting question. You want to take it? Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Business is mainly one thing. You have people demanding something, and you have the solution to provide it. You also need skills to make sure that they understand what you have to provide and sell in exchange. This is the basic skill of business. As a dentist, I have to sell myself every day. As a lawyer, I'm sure that you have to sell yourself too, because you have to convince the other party that you are the best person representing them. Lady, you're selling yourself just by saying hello. But what I'm trying to say here is, what you learn at school, up to now in business, and with all due respect, it's just recipes of what people have done in the past, what has been proven. But by the end of the day, business is communication. And I'm going to use something in my field for you guys to understand. As a doctor, we are shaped very square because we save lives, and we cannot take any chances, and we have no right to failure. So mainly you have to do a diagnosis, then you have a treatment plan, and then you look at the outcome. And then if it's not working, you do it again. Finance is something else. And it feels strange for me to be up here telling you guys what finance is, but I believe that finance is not adding up or subtracting. It's not even multiplying and dividing. Finance is a language. It's a language where you can use to have people understand your vision and starting to bet with you. And in finance, you say that there's two emotions, greed and fear. So for as long as you can aim for the fear, people in finance will understand that, because there's something to gain, either monetarily speaking or either by helping people. And today, I believe that in a new economy, it's not how much money you made that made the difference. It's how many people you help. And this is tremendous, because you'd be richer than your wildest dream. So let's take the same equation as a doctor and apply it to finance. In finance, we do something else. You have your goal first. As soon as you have the goal, the dream, which call it whatever you want, then you make a diagnosis. How far am I to accomplish that goal? And then you have your treatment plan or your course of action. The easiest thing to do there is you don't have to go back to the goal anymore. All you have to do is you think of something or where you are, you try it, it's not working. You go back and say, okay, where did I fail? And I do it. And I go and repeat it, but with more intelligence. So the only thing we have to do is to run with the two last cases. It's way easier. You gain speed, momentum, and wisdom. So it's easier than you think. It's not life is this way, school is this way. Do what's life all the way. Don't cut it.
So, Jamie, just before you add your thoughts, they just told me, because I didn't know what was going on with time, we only have about 5 or 10 minutes, so I want you to add your 2 cents, and then maybe just some last thoughts, and we're going to have to close it out, but we'll give your contact.
I'll wrap it up really quick. I think today more than ever, everybody is on the same playing field. There's no CNN versus I have no voice. Everybody has a voice today. And everybody, in my opinion, is their own production company. Everybody is their own communication company. And today it's all about showing people who you are as a business person. I'm not hiding behind legal logic anymore. I'm not hiding behind a brand. People want to do business with Jamie Ben-Isri because they think he may be a good lawyer, because they like what he has to say about law on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on my stories, whatever it is. So today everyone is running their own communication company, and I think that it's really all about that human contact. And it takes time to understand where that inner voice is coming from. And I think that we've started to identify where that inner voice is, but when you find it, I think it's explosive. So today more than ever, I think it's just about communicating a message the way that people want it. People don't want to hear. Today, Lenny didn't talk about one solar panel. Dr. Back didn't even talk about one whitening procedure, and I'm not going to talk to you about it in a corporation, because people don't care. They want to know that they're in good hands. They want to know that you have the solution, that they're going to get a fair price. And I could be the most expensive guy in the city, as long as people know that they're getting the value and that they feel comfortable.
That's great, Jamie. So we're going to be finishing up. So we only have 5 minutes left. So Lenny, like a minute and a half, final thoughts, and make sure you give information of how people can get a hold of you all. Let me just start. Thank you, everybody, because we'll end with the guys. Thank you very much. Stephanie Erickson, production company is This Matters to Me. Media, Instagram is This Matters to Me This Matters to _me, and it's the number 2. Personally, for hosting, Steph Erickson, host on Instagram. Stephanie Erickson, host, producer, Flying Trapeze Junkie, which I didn't talk about on Facebook. I do the Flying Trapeze. Okay, Lenny, thank you, everybody. Go ahead, Lenny.
Well, I think the last, but certainly the most valuable thing that I can say is that you guys are the future. And think about how you are conditioned. You grew up, you have your values, your family, your friends. You go to the gym, you go run, you do your studies, your exams, whatever. You have to think about your conditioning. If ever you really want to make big things happen, if ever you want to do some major things in your life, it starts with what you're doing on a day-to-day. So the next time that you click on Instagram or on Facebook or on Snapchat or you open Netflix, try to condition your mind to say, what can I do that's more productive for what I'm planning to do, for my own dreams? So you know what? As you're looking at the TV set and you're about to press play, you're like, you know what? And I've worked on that personally. I put down the remote and I'm like, you know what? I think I can do something that can help the world right now. I put it down, I go and I write an article. I put it down, I go and I write some lyrics for a song. I put it down, I go and I think and I plot and I scheme about some, new partnership or merger that I can do. Why? Because all those things are there to distract you. All those things are in your way to distract your true potential. Your potential is all the way here, and all these things are in the way. And you have to realize that. You have to realize how many things are putting all your potential down the drain, wasting your fucking time. It's wasting your fucking time. You have to grab that. You have to get rid of that. You have to focus on your own stuff. It's only in the way for you to reach your true potential. So it starts with your own conditioning. Best believe these words when you get back home and you sit down on the couch. Think about these words. Think about these words. Trust me, it may change the whole course of the next generation. Thanks. I want to give a final thought. We really were already over, so
wrap it up, guys. Quick final thoughts, please.
I'm gonna say one thing. I could have not made it if I didn't have people who helped me, who were just open. I believe that we're here today trying to share back, and as Lenny said, you guys are the future, and by helping you, we're helping ourselves. Because wherever you guys go, then we'll make our lives better. I'll be speaking for myself. I'm pretty sure that my colleague here will have the same. Look at us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. And if you need somebody, just say, it's okay, move forward. Write to us. We'll be answering.
Before you put away all the social media, first like and follow us. And then you can put everything away. None of that shit matters, he's right. But look, we're all regular dudes. You know, you wanted to be a rapper. Your parents wanted you to be professional. My parents just wanted me not to be on drugs, so they had no plans for me. But, you know, living within your means and within your capacity is boring, lacks creativity. And I think all of us have the courage to add some creativity to really boring shit. Solar panels, oh my god, you know, who gives a shit? You know, dentists, you know, law, talk about boring, who the hell wants to be? So we had some creativity and we decided not to accept the status quo. And I think all of us, what we have in common is that we added a dose of entrepreneurship and our own personalities, I mean, for sure, into everything that we do. So don't live within your means, challenge yourself, and that carnal instinct that Lenny described so perfectly earlier is going to come out. You're going to find it. It's fight or flight. It's in us, and when push comes to shove, you're going to survive. You're going to make it. And if you don't, so what? I'll create a corporation for you. We'll bankrupt you, and you'll do something else afterwards. That's the worst thing that could happen. So go do something fun. It's really short. I mean, half of our lives are already done. Do something fun, and just be passionate about it. And I think the rest follows. So get it done.
Thanks, Jamie.